Right then, lads. Let's get filming for Cheltenham then, shall we?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Hold on. We'll do in a minute.
Hello? Yeah? Oh, right. Oh, okay. Cheers.
Who's calling you at a time like this?
It's Woody Mullins.
You're joking.
What did he say?
He said, come on, you island.
Right then, folks. Here we are, ready for recording once again for our favourite time of the year, lads. Our Christmas Day or Christmas week. Cheltenham is just around the corner. All booked up.
Yep.
All tickets bought. Hotel booked. Bags packed.
Well, it's not a hotel.
Well, yeah, not a hotel. Yeah, townhouse this year for us.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Wife's told. Sort of, maybe for some of them.
I'll leave her a note.
Forgot about that.
Oh dear.
Too late now. You're coming, mate. I drag your
bags
bags
packed
screaming.
already, so we're good to go.
Yeah, as always, you know, like folks, we always get round and do this. We always try to get round the table, meet up when we can. We love to talk about racing anyway at the best of times. And obviously, what better time to talk about racing than the Cheltenham Festival? We probably had more questions than answers maybe last sort of week or so.
Yeah.
We've seen a few surprises, a few sort of blips. But, you know, who are we to judge? And, you know, these lads know what they're doing, and I'm sure come race day they'll be ready to rock and roll. But we'll see. That's the whole point of it. Everybody have their opinions and their choices on, you know, whether we're right or wrong. They may not run some of them.
No.
As we always say with these videos, we never know. We do this in advance.
Yep.
Well, say like a lot of people have to do out there. So, but we're going to concentrate in this part on days 1 and 2. Again, we haven't got really time to look at every single race, have we, lads? So we're going to look at the sort of bigger races, for a better word. No disrespect to any other races, the other sponsors.
The highlighted races.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what you might call the highlight races. So yeah, hopefully you like some of them. You know, hopefully you agree with some of them. It'd be fantastic if you could subscribe and hit the like button.
Definitely.
Give us a thumbs up.
And also comment if possible.
Yeah, and comment, like I say, if you've got any opinions on you know, on our selections, or if you think
It's the week everybody turns into a professional.
Exactly. So please, you know, do get involved. Obviously, brilliant news from Ed. Like a few months back, he said he'd roll over the tickets for our competition winners for the International Hurdle Day. Ed's very kindly going to roll the tickets over for Cheltenham, so they've all got a free day at Cheltenham. Which,
mention the winners as well from that.
which are obviously very ecstatic about that. So they're well happy with that. Just got to finalise with Ed whether he's going to do digital or postal tickets. I should imagine it'll go digital, is a lot easier.
Definitely.
But anyway, so with further ado then, lads, let's get cracking. Obviously the first one we'll look at is the Supreme Novice. I think we're kind of all in agreement, probably. Is there anyone beyond Facile Vega? So anyway, let's go with Jamie.
Fastest man on the left.
See what Jamie's got to say on the matter.
Well, the one that I'm definitely looking at and looks like I would definitely be hoping to see if he's definitely running is Marine Nationale, trained by Barry O'Connell. I think he's done very well. He's a big time trainer. Barry O'Connell. He's run really well. He's won a maiden race at Punchestown, jumped so well, winning by 4 lengths on his debut over hurdles, and then he won at Fairyhouse in the Bar1 Racing Royal Bond Novice Hurdle. That was really good. Won by a short head against Irish Point. I thought the jockey done very well. Michael O'Sullivan, who's now a professional. And I think he's got a very good chance here with Marine Nationale. I'm hoping he'll run in the Supreme. So yeah, for me on this one, I've got another selection, but Marine Nationale for me on the Sky Bet Supreme Novice Hurdle.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I'll steal Sean's thunder from the beginning. By
all means.
I'm going Facile Vega. So impressive last time. in let's be honest, I think it was bucking it down that day.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, we were just talking about, and it was absolutely, it was getting worse and worse and worse and worse as the day went on, as we all know, with Tyrone Cross ended up soaking wet in an Irish, well, what do you call it?
Dominating pub,
dominating pub, and the Irish would turn up and took over the pub. We happened to find ourselves in it, which obviously is not a bad thing, of course not. As we alluded to in our own chats, conversations with us lot on WhatsApp and with friends and family and stuff like that, you know, for me personally, Vega's going to kick off a storming Cheltenham for Mullins. Yeah. I don't know how you could not think that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He's got such a weapon of Arsenal available to him this year, probably stronger than he's had before, or certainly maybe in the last couple of years, not ever. Yeah. But yeah, you know, the way he won against American Mike in those treacherous conditions, I can't really see a lot that can go wrong for it, really. Obviously, of course, it's racing, it's Cheltenham, it's tough, we know that. But you're talking an horse that won so well, in terrible conditions, you know, and obviously got, you know, course form. So, you know, what more can you say, really?
Talking like that with Facile Vega, a lot of people were saying that he was drinking either to the right on
I thought he was drinking from it.
Drinking
what? Red Bull or something?
Yeah, drinking to the right, jumping to his for his hurdles. And like we'd said before, even with last year, I mentioned Dysett Dynamo, and they all thought he was going to be a reasonable, you know, going to be running against Constitution Hill.
Yeah, I think we was all a bit disappointed about that.
And he fell, and like I say, it's the championship races that you need to jump really well.
Yes, of course,
even if you do hit one or two, you're gonna get found out. I'm just thinking about his not his running style, but his jumping style, where he's just drinking. I think it was either from his right, from Punchestown, from his last one. Yeah, I think it was. I'm trying to look for it, or even at Fairy House. But it's just like sometimes. But I can understand from with Facile Vega, because he was very impressive in the bumper. But you know, I'm trying to look at some holes.
Well, at the end of the day, that's why we do it, in the interest of debate. That's why we do it, and obviously there'll be other people that probably think we're wrong and you're wrong. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, of course, as always with the bumpers and the Supremes, the Supreme Novices, you know, and things like that, they are tough to call because they are relatively young. They haven't run too many times, and you know, and like I say, sometimes maybe one didn't quite look as good, but then the penny drops and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a tough one. So, obviously, there's not much more I can say, and there's probably not really a lot more you two will add, really. But let's just, as we're going around the table, so Sean.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm very much, and I know you're going to probably say the same, that Facile Vega was too impressive for me last year to dismiss it. Again, still unbeaten, 3 races after that, over in Ireland, nothing can
we haven't even mentioned the pedigree.
Well, that's it. Nothing, well, exactly. I mean, the sort of horse that's come from, as we know, is ridiculous, and is Cheltenham renowned. You have got obviously Nichols Thomas, the Tolworth winner.
But
if you want to talk about poor jumping, that was I think every horse in the Tolworth hit every fence. Nothing was impressive.
No, it wasn't, was it? No.
Normally, you take that form into this festival, like we've said before. You Sandown Tolworth, you kind of like to lead into it. Nothing took my fancy in the rest
made
at
you
all.
think that this is going to take a step forward.
I know what Jamie's saying about Marine Nationale, but again, for me, Facile Vega, I just think we'll take all the beating.
I mean, good mate.
Mark? Yeah, well, I think you might want to ring your mate Willie Mullins back because he's definitely going to get off to a storming winner here. I think I think it's safe to say that it's probably not the strongest of Supremes to other years that we've had. But yeah, you know, being there last year, seeing how impressive he was in the heavy conditions, the treacherous rain that we stood out in for hours last year at Cheltenham, and just, you know, beating him. American Mike's 33-1 in this race, and he comes second in the bumper last year.
Yeah,
just, you know,
it shows you,
stormed away. And as Sean mentions, like, you know, Timoris, who won the Tolworth, like, you know, for a horse to jump so bad and still win a race, you know, but you still got to respect.
Yeah, you can't knock his win, but
he's got to beat what's in front of him. But, you know, like you know, like, to me, he's got better and better since Cheltenham, and in his first novice Grade 1 race, at Leopardstown on the 27th of December. You know, I think Willie Mullins is definitely going to get off to a cracking start for the Irish. I agree with Jamie. I think Marine Nationale, I think, is going to be potentially the biggest threat. But how good Constitution Hill was in the Supreme, I think Facile Vega can be just as good as that. You know, maybe not so much in the length, but I mean, how impressive that he is. He's jumping over the hurdles. Not much more to say, apart from I think it's going to be 1-0 to the Irish.
Yeah.
Well,
on the first race.
I mean, I could mention another Willie Mullins, and that will be my each way, because I have selected, and obviously it's going to be a health warning because I'm going to be doing roughly about two selections.
He loves a bonus, Jamie.
So even with Imperial Pass, he was very impressive in the Moscow Flyer.
Got a couple of entries though, so maybe
you never know, and also. You know, you could have,
but that was could
have 2 or 3. That was impressive there, and I think he travelled into the Moscow Flyer in the Grade 2, jumped very quickly through over the hurdles, and he just jumped very well, and he beat the Model Kingdom, and she was no mug as well, and won.
That's one you picked out on somewhere else.
In another selection I've selected, and that was by 6.5 lengths.
Yeah,
and I think Darryl Jacob will ride him, and I'm in Paul Townsend will ride. Definitely will ride Facile Vega, and I think he'll be an interesting contender as well, because you know that Willie could have 1 or 2 in the Supreme, definitely, and I think that will be his go-to with Facile Vega, and he's obviously his counter back person will be the Imperial Passe. But I'll definitely with Marine Nationale. I'm quite impressed with Marine. It's been running in soft conditions, good conditions, with Imperial. As like running soft and heavy conditions, but we all know in March it could be like good to soft or yielding, and it'd be a little bit quicker. So we'll find out on that day.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on then. So obviously going back to Mark's point, saying 1-0 to the Irish, could it be 1-1 by the Arkle?
No.
For me, yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, go on then.
Well, I was to play devil's advocate in round 2. Yeah, I think it's going to be 1-1, and as much as I think Willie Mullins is going to have some real good, strong contenders in this, I think John Bond is the horse to beat for me in this. You know, didn't quite get it, and you know, second last year in the Supreme, but to the horse that he lost to, you know, no one was going to win on that day. You know, as we know. But I think since Nicky Anderson's made the switch to the lobster obstacles for John Bond, I think he's become a natural jumping the fences. You know, he's impressed me. You know, it was the high flyer bloodstock Novices chase at Warwick. I know it was only a 3-runner race, but he jumped every fence to perfection in that one. And when you see, you know, a horse that jumps hurdles, when every trainer makes that switch, vice versa, whichever way, you always have that doubt on how each horse is going to perform. But John Bond looks like he's been jumping fences his entire life. And, you know, don't get me wrong, over the past few weeks, month or so, appreciate it's come into contention, jumping the larger obstacles. Dysart Dynamo, who fell in the Supreme, he's become very good at jumping. You know, look at some other inches. I think El Fabiolo, excuse me. Sir Gerhard's got an issue. I don't think he's going to go that route. St Roy, Phil Dore, they're all other races. You know, this to me is one of 2 races that I think is going to be the most exciting races on day 1.
It'll be a small field again.
It will be a small field, but if you look at 6 or 7 runners, I think there's going to be strong. 3 or 4 that you're going to think it could go any way in this one. But for me, I think Willie Mullins will strike early, and I think Nicky Anderson will pip in an equaliser with John Bond, and that's my selection for the Arkle. And I will love to know, because by his reaction,
let's say
John Bond.
Yeah, sort of get it out of the way, maybe. Firstly, I've got to be honest. I picked out Dysart Dynamo last year, and I'm really torn on this, to be honest, because I want Dysart to show what I thought he was going to show last year. Obviously, he did to a degree, but obviously the end result wasn't what we wanted. And I've really found it a struggle to kind of come down either side. But I just think, as you rightly pointed out, Mark, you know, John Bon is the only other horse to even be in the same postcode as Constitution Hill, you know. Yeah. We're not talking, you know, I mean, you're still talking what, 20 lengths or something like that behind? Yeah, you know, Epitome was 12. And obviously Epitome won very convincingly. Wasn't the best field, but she was still awesome that day. Yeah. So, as much as I want Dysart to be brilliant, I'm just being swayed by the form against Constitution Hill. Okay, yes, he was a long way behind. But like I say, the only other horse to literally be in the same bloody postcode. Yeah. So I find it very hard to argue against it. And as you say, Mark, I think the change has been the making of him.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Considering with John Bon, with me, you've got the famous brother. It's Dovan. You know, it makes him to jump a fence. It makes him. It's made the fences have made the man of him. Like with hurdles, is that you can kick him out wherever it is.
Well, funnily enough, sorry, but in Jamie, and you know, but funnily enough, when I mentioned about John Bon last year, when I actually went against Constitution Hill in the Supreme, obviously not knowing how supreme he was going to go on and be. And I actually remember, you know, because like I said, everybody listens, everybody puts their tweets up, you know, they're posting everything else. And I always remember a comment, which was, you know, towards me to say, you know, when I compared John Bon, you know, obviously with a brother to Duvan, and you know, and I always remember the comment about saying, you know, about you can't compare him when he jumps the larger obstacles. Well. It's going down the same route, and since he's gone down the same route, he's looking exactly like how Duvan was. I know you can't compare them because
I think that was someone just picking holes, really.
It probably was like four geezers drinking down a pub. But having said that, you know, like I know you can't compare them, but there are similarities that I can see, and yes, Cheltenham will see that. You know, whether he will jump to perfection and win, which I think he will.
I mean, I'm sorry, you're going to go on your soapbox, and I know you're. I know you. Yeah, I mean, I like he's been guaranteed John Bon is going to win for me, but I'm not going to bet John Bon because it's such a short price, and and you've had Paddy Power have already paid out, which is very unusual because they're trying to be like the Betfred of the football. So I looked at it, and without the John Bon market in the Arkle, I've looked at it, and I've looked at Dysart and Dynamo as an each way selection. Considering it was a small field, 4 runners, I think big fences have made it's made him a man of him, jumping over fences. Dysart. I know we've got the Dublin Festival coming up, so we'll be looking out from Dysart, and we've got to appreciate it as well. Most probably, some of them that'd be good. But you know, I think I reckon he'll make a race out of it, and I think he'll do it. I think he'll get beat, but I reckon he'll win the without market of John Bon. John Bon will win, but he'll win. But Dysart Diamond, because I think he's a natural going over fences because, like you say, some horses love to jump over them big obstacles. Some of them are natural hurdlers, so, you know, and they have to stay over hurdles, which is fine. I know, like some of it is like the same thing when Big Bucks, when I run these hurdles, went over fences, fell. Paul went, right, no, we'll have to go back to scratch, square again, and we'll go over hurdles. And look at what he done in the Stales. He's like, you know, unbeaten. Unbelievable.
That's why the people in their horses here.
Exactly. Exactly. And now.
So come on then, Sean. We'll let Sean have his say his piece.
Yeah, no, it's just to show me you're all wrong.
All depends what you're going for.
I had to sit there a long time and listen to a lot of waffle, it felt like. But no, look, John Bon, we know how good he is. Again, I don't think the Supreme is anything to match any of the horses. I know what you're saying, the only horse that came close. I think Constitution Hill is that good. I couldn't care less what was behind it. I don't think that one factors into it whatsoever because both have switched disciplines. I think Dysart will go off at the front and you will not catch him. I think I hope that the Irish Arkle at the weekend will show that he's the better of the Mullins pair. I think then the jockey booking will change for Cheltenham. I think John Bon's good. I think that hill with someone eyeballing him will catch him out again.
Just a quick one, Sean.
Personally.
Just a quick one. The last time Dysart ran at Cheltenham, it was over the hurdles and he fell.
He was way too keen.
Do you not have any concerns or
Not at all.
about that?
Not at all. He didn't settle in that race whatsoever. The reason he fell, you could see he was going to fall 3 fences before that. He was so concerned, it felt like, with John Bond and Constitution Hill behind, as in the jockey, not the horse. Obviously,
yeah, I mean,
it felt like
trying to think back.
He was
did
erratic.
Sort of seem unnatural.
He was so tried to be so quick and so erratic over them. It caught him out.
He
So
didn't.
probably should
Yeah,
have the
I
larger
mean, if you
ones
look back
were
at
set.
it, I have to agree. I think he did definitely look.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you call it, like unsettled or
It was
like
erratic.
Say,
It was coming.
yeah, or sort of like nervous energy or something. He was like something didn't look quite right, and I think that was his undoing.
I think the tactics.
I will concede that.
I think the tactics will be the same again. Promise you now, his jumping will be too good.
Considering he'll be on the new course.
New
New
course.
course. So it's
I
going to
think
be,
his jumping will be too good.
It'll be interesting on the new course on the fancy side how he copes with it. Do you know what I mean?
So how confident are you that Dysart will win?
Confident.
Where will John Bond finish?
Second.
Yeah.
A good second. I think it'll be a very good battle.
You willing to have a pint of Guinness on that at the festival?
Yeah.
It's already at first.
It's already lost £8.50.
Yeah.
That's including his bet.
But no, yeah, I think Dysart for me. I think will prove a little bit too good.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't really need to go any further than that, I suppose. Right. So we can restore harmony now, surely. Champion Hurdle.
Yeah.
Well,
we know the winner.
Yeah. What an absolute unit that horse is. And as I wrote down in my notes, well, I must apologise to Sean. Surely he's a new machine, isn't he?
Yeah. It's too good. It's ridiculous.
As much as the machine was the machine, do you know what I mean, in his day?
Of course.
Constitution Hill is the Franco of the national hunt.
He's one of them rare breeds, I'm afraid.
It's
he's supernatural, isn't he? You know, he just.
I mean, considering Constitution Hill is sired by Blue Brazil.
Yeah.
Now we was at the we was at the stable visit, and we saw a Blue Brazil, and it was a filly, and they were so laid back.
Yeah, there was.
They were laid back, and
the demeanour, the nature of it.
And when the Blue Brazil filly ran in the on the same gallops, you could tell that was a natural gallop. And then when we spoke to, or when Nicky said about Constitution Hill, they found that button and it goes. I would love to see Constitution Hill there doing that. Ran them same gallops.
Cool,
that would have been brilliant. But you could tell
tell
from
we could ask next time.
I mean, you could tell from a Blue Brazil sire, they are so relaxed. And,
you can tell the temperament. Yeah,
you can tell that they know what they know what they're doing. You know, you get like some of the sires who are absolutely helter skelter, and they'll just bolt and just go out of it or whatever. Yeah. This, Constitution Hill. He is to me is the Franco of the national hunt. I know we can't. He can't go in the studs. He can't go in the studs and all that because he's a gelding. Unfortunately, we can't see another protege of him and all that. Because now Franco is the next Galileo. You know what I mean? Because he's won so many, like the sires won so many like Group 1s and all that. But it'd be great to see,
But he just seems supernatural to me.
He's too good.
He
was so impressive in that fight in fifth.
As I say, it's a different class, isn't he? He's just a different class.
Way too good. He will. And then the field is just he'll just absolutely blitz. I mean, it's a shame. State Man would be the only other one I'd look at personally. I think we'll run well. Hopefully the weekend as well. Dublin Festival, as we were saying. But I'm not even going to go on. I think Constitution was too good. I think everything else is just going to be.
I mean, I will do a without bet with Constitution Hill market, and I looked in the without bet market, and I've gone for Vauban, Willie Mullins. I got beat by State Man from another. Obviously, State Man is another Willie Mullins horse.
Yeah, but I think you ran really well in that race, man.
But I think the soft did. I think the soft like the conditions run really well. I think he'll run on better ground, and I think it'll be yielding. It could be good to soft, at Cheltenham. I'm hoping because we don't really want soft or too heavy, like we was absolutely drenched out there in the bumper and all that.
It's a shame in a way for Verban, because I think he deserves a better chance, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
he's been put up against something.
But to me, in that particular market, without constitution,
exactly.
I think Vauban could be, you could from there.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds are really short because it's without a constitution hill. What I found, but you might as well take it because you're not going to go. I know you're going to have Constitution Hill. Not a lot of people will be betting Constitution Hill on singles. I think they'll be putting Constitution Hills in their accumulators, lucky 15s, lucky 62s, Yankees, Canadians and all that. But obviously he's going to be odds on. I can't see someone's going to put like $1,000 or $2,000 on an odds on, which is going to be absolutely ridiculous odds on. But looking at it, without a market, I've gone for Vauban.
Yeah,
for me.
There's no point, is there?
Let's just take a moment to listen to all that. But what can you say about Constitution Hill?
Yeah.
Like last year in the Supreme, what we've stipulated about a few of the horses jump on the Dynamo.
No marks on that.
When you watch back at that race, his jumping, his movement, and you got to take credit to Nico de Boinville as well, because it's a fantastic partnership with them. I don't think any other jockey would have that sort of partnership with a horse so great in Constitution Hill. And as we was at Nicky Henderson's stable, more so to see the MPR runners. Always remember the little conversation that we had with him, and it was just a comment that he made. He said, Constitution Hill has a button, and when Nico pushes that button, he goes. And in every run and every race that we've seen him in, from when he made his first run from a point to point at Sandown in the Tingle Creek a few years ago, to then running in heavy grounds, to then seeing him in the Supreme, seeing him in a fight in fifth. He's just getting better and better and better. And when you look
that's
at
scary. That's a scary.
When you look at Edwardstone, who's a fantastic mare, who's a champion hurdle winner. He's beaten that horse with a multiple 32 lengths in 2 races, in 17 and 15 lengths. It's incredible.
I mean, the way he won that fight in fifth, it was just boom, and then he was like, "See you later." At the time,
I personally don't think I don't think anyone has seen the best of this horse yet. I really don't. But one thing I will have to say before we move on, I have to say one mention about Honeysuckle. Because it is a mare who does not need to prove anything. No. She has won 2 champion hurdles, and there's been rumours of her potentially going over to the mares.
I think she'll go mares anyway.
She's in the markets for both.
Yeah.
Would I like to see her go in the champion hurdle? Of course I would. Of course a lot of people would, because no horses won 3 champion hurdles in a row. But hats off to her what she's done, Henry de Bromhead's done. If she does go in the champion hurdle, it'd be great to see.
Just another horse for Constitution Hill to beat, really, essentially.
Of course, and I think the one thing that I like about Constitution Hill more than anything is, that his jumping is great, but it's just how quick of a switch of your finger, how he can change things.
Well, you said it, and obviously, as you said, Nicky alluded to it when we were there. He's got that button.
Yeah.
The only thing the way I can sum that up perfectly, you can't train that. You can't train that. You can't train a horse to go, boom, I'm going.
It's the same thing with Henry Cecil. He couldn't. That Frankel was keeping him alive.
Yeah.
And you couldn't. He was going up the Warren Hill gallops and all that. It's the same thing with Constitution Hill.
Yeah. I mean, you can train a horse to jump. You can train, to be brave and this, that, and the other. But you can't train that button, as Nicky said. When you just push that button, when you just say to him, "Come on, we need to go."
And when wasn't it fantastic? Then last year, you could say, "I was there."
Yeah,
I was there. Everybody there, like 4 of us. The others who were there at Cheltenham, you can state it, say, "I was there," and it was like you can go. Well, that is a sporting 100 sporting achievements.
Yeah, it's a moment.
There's a moment. That's a moment there.
So we're all saying statement. Constitution,
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on then. This one's probably going to provide opinions of it, I should
What
imagine.
one will we go for?
So we're going to move on to the National Hunt Chase. Come on, Mark, I'll let you start us off with this one.
In a race like this, I wouldn't normally go for the favourite, but I'm sticking with Mullins in this. I'm going Gaillard de Mesnil. You know, this is a race where I think Jamie's going to probably keep us up till midnight with how many selections.
Yeah, we have got a time limit.
But I remember when I watched him, he come, you know, for a horse that has consistently finished in the top 3 in all of his 12 runs for Willie Mullins. You know, he only recorded his 3rd win at Leopardstown back in December when he won the Neville Hotel's Novice Chase. It was obviously disrupted by 2 fatal injuries to 3-stripe life for Gordon Elliott and unexpected death for Oliver McKiernan. But again, this is he comes seconds to Bob Ollinger in the Ballymore back in 2021, and then 3rd last year in the Browns to the eventual winner Lahon Presse.
4 lengths.
And he just seems to be getting better and better and better. And you know, like I said, I wouldn't normally look. I'd normally be like Jamie. I'll put down a few. You know, you've got Nicky Henderson's got one in there. Mr. Coffee 16s. Willie Mullins again's got another one. I am Maximus 25. And T for free for Lily Pinchin, who's been in fine form. You know, you can't fell in the latest run, but you know, its runs before that on all various ground conditions has been really impressive.
Unfortunately, T3 fell at the Skybet Chase.
Yes.
Unfortunately, and then Lily Pigeon got injured, I think. But I'm hoping that he will do run in there, because obviously he'd be in the in that novice.
It's normally a race that I'd look at, like sort of like you know, look at your tactics, Jamie. I'd look at it and think, you know, it's going to probably be one of the bigger fields of the day.
Couple of darts.
Maybe, hopefully, some betting markets might pay like maybe 5 places, potentially 6 on some betting.
You've got
markets.
to shop around for that particular.
But I think Gaillard de Mesnil, if it stays at around 7 to 4 on race day, then that's definitely who I'll be betting on in this one for me.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll tell you who's going to win it now.
Very confident.
Look, I've not gone with a favourite. I've gone a bit more out there. I've gone for a 20 to 1 shot, and it's Dan Skelton's, and it's called Hidden Heroics. 20 to 1 with our friends at Uni.
It must be heroic if he goes for that one.
Skelton.
Yeah. Look, it's got course form. It's won there in December, HQ. It was only a 3-runner race, but it beat Art Approval by 45 lengths. Now, obviously, it is a bit of a punt, you know what I mean? There's not a hell of a lot you can go on, really. But I'm always a big fan of trying to find a horse that maybe got the course form. This is a completely different proposition. I completely understand that. But as you say, trying to just spice it up and keep it interesting,
of course.
And rather than just sort of, as much as I think Mullins is going to have an absolute storming festival, I looked through the card and I thought, well, is there any way there, like, in the Jamie special, a bigger price?
Bigger prices.
And I think, sort of around the 20 mark, I think that is a good little shout for an each way for a horse with course form. As I say, not like I say, really different proposition. I think it might even be marginally up in trip, but we're talking like 4 furlongs. It's not a lot of difference. And I'm sort of hoping maybe the same sort of conditions. It's from the same sire as the Steering for Launch, which obviously Mark, you tried to champion, even though he couldn't really seem to get his act together.
If that all stay on his feet, he would have been dangerous.
Picardis as well, and St. Roy. So he's got some pedigree in it. Whether it can prove to be better than them and maybe show what some of them haven't, we don't know. But as an each way shout, 20 to 1, I'm going to go with Hidden Heroics of Dan Skelton.
Joe, why? Because he wants to see the Harry plane. That's what he wants to see. He wants the Harry plane.
Yeah.
You see, so on my National Hunt Grade 2 amateur jockeys novice chase, I've gone for, and unfortunately, a lot of people go, why are you picking for that trainer? I've gone for Gordon Elliott. We know the situations.
That's done now.
That's all done and dusted. I can, It's Milena Krona. Got some looking at some form as running 3-mile races. One at Punchestown on the 17th of Jan. on soft ground, beat Ivan by 11 lengths. And then his and a recent win was at Farias in a 2 mile 5 furlong and beat I Maximus by a short head. So for me, I think I'll go for that for the old each way. Looking at it, it was 20-1. You know, Unibet could be doing something else. Looking at it's been backed into 16s now, so they've been, you know, nibbles. So depending on what Unibet are doing, I'll do that as an each way. But there will be a few darts will be going for
on
that.
One,
Definitely, because there will be like a good like 15-20 runner race. From there, but it'd be a great spectacle again with like a cavalry charge.
I did try my hardest not to want to pick the favourite, if I'm honest, not just because it's Mullins based. I did like Mr. Coffee. I just think it's always the bridesmaid. It just doesn't know how to win. Don't get me wrong. Yes, everything needs to break its duck, but with that many twos in succession, you get too many of those horses that don't know where that finish line is first. With a great shout at 16-1, I still think will be in the each way placings. That horse will be watched for, whether it runs there or not.
I mean, he was going to run in the Sky Bet Chase and got taken out, but he was in he was in good betting, like mid betting.
I mean, there's going to be plenty of shouts for that horse because I think you know what Henderson's like. He won't put it anywhere, but I will be siding with Mark.
And you tend
Galliard de Mencil will,
and you tend to have Hendersons who normally run well in big prices.
That's what I mean. That's the one where I'm sticking. We're not sticking with because I'm not for the sake of this. Again, I know you don't like to pick the favourites all the time. Unfortunately, it's not about betting. This is about our opinions on the best horse that will win these best races. I will be siding with Mullins again. Galliard de Mencil, like you say, has only really gone down to good horses. Galloping, Ahoy Signor, Lochon Press, all of these great horses. All of these have won very recently. One of those will win a Gold Cup. So, for me, Galliard de Mencil.
Okay, all right. Well, this brings us on to, I suppose, a race close to Jamie's heart, the mares, Close Brothers. I'm going to kick off. I'll start this one. I'm going to kick off and say I don't plan to make the same mistake as I did at the festival last year, and I'm going to have to back Marie's Rock. We made a mistake on track last year. At a hefty price, if I remember rightly as well. We probably could have paid for our Cheltenham maybe, but anyway, so Marie's Rock. What can you say? I think she just got better and better and better. Looks a lovely type every time you see her. Lively, but but that doesn't mean to say that it doesn't mean it like it's a detrimental thing. Do you know what I mean? She's always on her toes, as we know, but you've got Brandy Love in there, Echoes in Rain. They've never won at Cheltenham.
Could you see Honeysuckle be in the mares?
Well, this is it. I've got written down here. Look, no doubt if she is there, Rachel rides, but I hate to say it, but for me, her time's come. I know people disagree.
It's like Mark says, she owes nothing.
Exactly.
Matter.
She doesn't owe anybody anything, and she deserves every accolade she got along the way. But I was looking at a couple of Facebook messages just before I came, Mark, and I had to weigh into a conversation. And someone said, Honeysuckle will win tomorrow, and then she'll also win at the festival. And they were referring to the Champion Hurdle, obviously, not necessarily in that particular comment. And I just replied and just said, look, all due respect, I think Stateman's in the race tomorrow. So for a start, she's got to overcome Stateman, and then you expect her to then go and beat maybe Constitution Hill if she runs in it. But it's just not going to happen.
I mean, also the owner said, well,
exactly,
Champion Hurdle
or nothing,
nothing.
Exactly,
and then you go okay, then you go with it then, because it's the owner who pays the money, who makes the decisions, even with the trainer. But I know she's in two markets, the mares and the champion. But carry on. Sorry, I still.
So that's all right. No, but in that, yes, okay, she got a better chance. But you're putting her up against Marie's Rock, who's on the upward curve, and not only talking about upward curves, not only that, you've got Love Envoy, who's on an upward curve as well, who has got better and better. And for me, she's Marie's Rock's biggest threat, in my opinion. She's won at the festival on course, and again, she's just getting better and better. You got Brandy Love in there, but she put Brandy Love to the sword in April. And she's not actually run since. So anyway, I won't go on a lot more because I've sort of said my point really. But for Marie's Rock from me, and then I think the biggest threat will be Love Envoy. So before we hand over to Mr. MPR, Mark, where are you on the? I think I know you are, but go on.
I'm with Marie's Rock. And I'll tell you why. Because not only does it go back to last year when I saw shots. This is part one of 2 parts on what I enjoyed the most and why I love racing. And this is part 1. Part 2 will come in the next show. But pure passion, for somebody who represents and has shares in Midland Park Racing, which if you've not heard of them, MPR, they've got some fantastic, fantastic syndicate. We've had the opportunities to go to various stable visits to see some fantastic horses that are represented by them, and Marie's Rock being one. And when seeing her win, the mares, which I'm pretty certain it was around 16-1 for the odds, and the pure passion shown by Jamie. I remember standing next to the marquee and the best mate enclosure. I don't think people knew what was quite going on. I really don't. I mean, people must have thought, who's this nutty guy running about with a scarf around, putting scarves around other people's necks. But it was amazing.
The Guineas might have had something to do with that as well, though. Old Doomball,
But she, like I mentioned about Nico de Boinville, it's another fantastic partnership that he has with a special horse. We had the opportunity to go to Nicky Anderson's yard, to see a few of the horses. Yes, there's been a speculation, and it was mentioned a couple of times that being up to 3 miles is an option for her. She was the one horse out of around probably 10 or 12 horses that was there on that day. That not only did she look calm, but she also looks like she'd go out and run 2.5 miles like that. She was ready to go and race. She didn't want to be all this, and that's what I love to see in racehorses. Can she run and can she go the distance in 3 miles? Yes, I do, but I think the right selection for me is that if she goes for the mares, which I think she will. When she ran at Cheltenham recently, there was a few doubts, and not doubts, but there was a few it's her first run in a while, so run the cobwebs off, as you say. She ran it don't matter if she had a 2-year break, she'd still go and run as well as what she did. And looking at some of the runners in here, Love Envoy, like you mentioned, Brandy in Love, which I believe had a minor setback last year. We didn't get to see this horse, and Honeysuckle as well. We don't really say anything about Honeysuckle when she goes to the mares or the champion. I just want to see her running, But Marie's Rock, she's definitely going to be the one to beat in this race for me. If she turns up like she did last year and in January, and like I see her with Nicky Henderson trying to control her, then
18-1 she went off at.
18-1. See, there you go. Seconds, Queen's Brook, who is like. Well, since then, Queen's Brook has been awful.
The last 3 runs was 3rd, 1st, and 2nd.
Talking about fortunate to go to stables as MPR, and obviously, I don't want to take any credit for it. But when we were there, someone brought up Marie's Rock, and Tom said at the time we might go to the festival and have a go at the mares. And I said to Tom, nobody else seemed to pipe up. I went, why wouldn't you? I went, you got it. I think she just won. If I remember rightly, did she win at Newbury really impressively before that? I think it was a Newbury race.
Something like that.
And I remember sort of saying, the race before she won really impressively. And I remember thinking to myself, why on earth wouldn't you have a go? And they would, they were sort of,
I think it was just.
Maybe it was that Warwick race. Might have been a Warwick.
Yeah, Warwick. I think. I think they were umming and ahhing from it if they wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I think then they decided to go. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
But.
I mean, do you think she can go 3 miles, Jamie? Do you think from what we've seen from her, running in the distance of the mares?
Well, looking at the breeding as she's out of Milan, yeah.
I mean,
I reckon she will go 3. And when I answered the question, do you reckon she will go 3? And he went, well, yeah, she will. She's got the breeding to go 3, but we're gonna go for the mares and then go to Punchestown and then on to Aintree, but then they're going to go to Aintree and up a trip to the 3 mile race, which is common sense. You don't really want to forget the mares, go to stairs and get beat, and then all of a sudden her crown's gone. You know, you've got to defend your crown, like Kveda did.
Yeah.
I could understand that. Kveda won it 5 times, and then people saying, well, what, Kveda could have ran in the champion hurdle, but there are races there to be won.
Yeah,
you suit.
Yeah.
I mean, take Edwardstone, who was a champion hurdle winner back in 2020. Like Marie's Rock beat Edwardstone in Stormy Island in the Irish mares.
In Punchestown, and that was 2 miles. That was 2 miles 4, 2 miles 5.
Yeah,
and then you going, wow, she's beating Edwardstone here. This is like a champion hurdle, and she's beaten. And Edwardstone, she ran well, she jumped well, but at the last hurdle, you could she's pulled away, and Edwardstone didn't have that answer. Even Brandy Love didn't have that answer, and it was the form carried on. It just, I mean, the way from last year. Nikki Henderson said she was awful. She didn't want to know because she went backwards and we had to go back to square one again. It was the same thing again. When we was there, she was pulling like a tank, and then all of a sudden she wasn't having none of it. She was sweating like in anything. She was like, I'm not going to be horrible. It was like a pig on a spit. She was absolutely sweating and being nervous, and she wanted to go. She wanted to beat the horse in front of her, and you can see the jockey was like the arms was going to pull out.
Oh, she's a lively character.
But then obviously wanted to be trained, and then all of a sudden again, what Nikki said, there was not a problem. It was like, right, we've got to go back to square one again and start again. And then all of a sudden we've found her, we've got her again. It was the same thing with the Constitution Hill with the button. We've got her. And I think I'm not being horrible because I'm part of the syndicate. It would have been fantastic to see her in the top 6. I didn't expect her to win that, because you had Queensbrook was the talk, and no one was mentioning Mary's Rock. Even I think I did mention Mary's Rock in the last preview, but no one was mentioning Mary's Rock because it was undercover sort of thing. It was nothing. She wasn't mentioned at all in most of the previews.
No.
It was only like from there. I think that Rekindle was a great prep run for her. That was her first run in so many days. That was since Punchestown run. I thought she beat Dressel. Was it that Dashel Drasher really well? Yeah. Look at the form. He's done.
If you look at some of the horses, in that race, you say, you mentioned Dashel Drasher, Napper's Hill, who I mentioned a few times, was in there. You got Bruin Napper Storm, I Like to Move It, Langer Dan, Tritonic, who finished 9th in that race. And I'm saying, it's like what we said before, you beat what's in front of you, and, and she is beating top horses.
But I think that, I reckon, the main danger, and I totally agree, and it'll be great for syndicate. It's going to be a matchup. It's a syndicate matchup. Yeah, it's going to be a syndicate. It'll be a boxing match, a syndicate boxing match between the Noel Feely syndicate versus the MP. Because I think it's going to be them two up there. I reckon, and she's the main danger. Love Envoy won like a tough mare. She won very well in the Unibet Mares Hurdle listed race at Sandown, and she's. I think she'll win really well, and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, they'll be duking it out, no doubt about it. I'm sure of it. Yeah.
It's so painful. It is because it's been 10 minutes of Marie's rock loving, and correctly so. I don't think it will be the same this time. I hope it is. Do not get me wrong, because I would pay anything to watch that celebration again.
Yeah, exactly.
Genuinely, I do hope she wins. Genuinely, I think Love Envoy will be.
Yeah.
Like you said, only purely off the basis they are two gritty mares that love a battle, and that hill will be a great, like exactly how you said it, great little boxing match for those two.
Oh yeah,
because they are fantastic horses. I think, and it does pay me to say it, and I probably will have a saver because 100% you support like what we do. But for the purpose of this, I will go on my own, but only because of, like you've all said, she is the main threat, Love Envoy. She is just as tough. We will just see on the day.
Yeah. As I say, on an upwards curve, no doubt about it, and it's got better and better.
But I do think when I was watching the rekindled hurdle, I think her jumping was even better than last season. Her jumping was absolutely pinging it.
If we don't move on,
we'll
talk about her all night. Rightly so.
I mean, you say that, and I totally agree. But as I talked about Sean, Love Envoy last time last time out at Sandown, Love Envoy.
But isn't it great that you got syndicate horses and syndicate clubs? Owners group, Noel Feely, NPR.
I find it so weird that we seem to be talking about Marie's Rock more than we have Constitution Hill. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we know what to say about Constitution.
Well, partially a bit of a personal allegiance as well, isn't it?
And a lot of people will say, "Oh, Brandy Love will win," or Edwardstone will get supplemented and go at the mayor's.
But that's the whole point. We don't know.
You just don't know. But the only thing is, will JP supplement? No, I think Edwardstone will. You know, he's a sporting person. He will go, right, I'll take Constitution Hill on. Look at like she done over Doncaster.
It's the greatest 4 days of my life.
And can you believe there's people on social media saying the festival's going to be boring? I don't bloody think so.
I was just saying, we've done 45 minutes talking about day one.
Yeah,
that's not like us.
Well, people who say things like that must clearly be cricket fans, because who wants to sit there watching somebody bowl a ball and someone hits with a bat?
Go for the 4 or
someone put a finger up.
As Sean alluded to, we are time is ticking by then, so let's move on then. Well, folks, that's the end of day one. We decided on editing to split it into 2 videos. We was around the table for about an hour and sort of 40-50 minutes, which is quite long for a video. So yeah, we split it into 2. That's our selections for day one for the upcoming festival. You maybe agree with some, maybe you didn't agree with some, but please do give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you again in the second part.